All right.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you know my name, but I'm Ibraheem. And before I introduce to you my topic, I'm going to make a generalization about actions that people take in life. I'm going to say that there are three reasons why somebody doesn't do something. First, there are physical consequences to his actions. For example, somebody puts a condom on before they get in bed with a stranger because they're afraid either that they're going to get some sort of sexually transmitted disease or they're preventing a baby to happen. Or somebody doesn't smoke because it just damages their body. And another reason why people stay away from something are because of moral or ethical consequences. It's when you have a fear of God, a fear that God will punish you, or your ability to distinguish between right or wrong is at stake. If you do something against your religion or personal views. For example, you don't go shoot your mother, no matter how much she annoys you, because you know that it is one of the 10 Commandments which says, thou shalt not kill. Okay, then the other kind of consequence, that the only other reason why people don't do something are artificial, man-made consequences. For example, these are the consequences made up by laws, legislators, judicial. For example, you don't go kill the state bird or steal from a local convenience store because you can go to jail for committing the offense. These laws have been created. These are the only things that keep people from doing something which is hurtful to another person or society. Without these rules of nature, God, and humanity, we would all be savages. When no boundaries exist, people simply engage in these activities at their own leisure and convenience. For example, the modern problem of piracy. No tangible consequences exist to this form of thievery, and thus it is widely ignored by society, despite the fact that it is seen as something wrong or bad. Okay, now this brings me to my main point. My primary claim for tonight is that the lack of accountability, physical, moral, and artificial, for the executive branch of government, particularly the President of the United States of America, has led to a breakdown of the political system intended by this nation's founding fathers. Okay. Now I'm going to prove this to you through three major points. First, I'm going to relate to you the sick abuses of power that have been undertaken by recent presidents, which clearly demonstrate what this nation's founders explicitly opposed. Second, I'm going to show you just a few examples of how presidents on the campaign trail and during their initiation have blatantly lied to the people in order to get themselves into office and then go against their original promises. Third, I'm going to show to you how the president can be entirely unaccountable for any of their actions and how recent presidents have achieved this status of immunity from justice, a clear violation of the founders' clear desire for justice for everybody. Now for the first point. Modern presidents have taken advantage of circumstance to increase and abuse their power to the point where it supersedes the Constitution itself. This fact is clearly evident when you look at the policies undertaken and continued by President Bush and Obama. For example, the American establishment of Guantanamo Bay Prison, where the torture, illegal kidnappings, detention without due process, and the denial of rights for the accused to confront their accuser are common occurrences clearly violative of the ideals that this nation was founded upon. For example, this source is from a documentary, and then also it's from one of the prison guards that actually was kicked out of there because he actually had some morality in him. Okay. The Constitution was founded with the idea of basic rights for all people, and Bush, now Obama as well, for keeping the prison open, have demonstrated an utter obliteration of human rights and disrespect for America by being responsible for such a place to exist under their jurisdiction. Now, another less modern, clear example of the executive's power and subsequent lack of accountability is Watergate and Richard Nixon. You may have heard him. I don't know, he's kind of old, but you probably have. In Watergate, Richard Nixon allowed 5 men to break in the Democratic National Convention. He also committed much campaign fraud, political espionage, illegal break-ins of other places, improper tax audits, and wiretapping of individuals illegally. Basically, these are also clear signs that they violated the Constitution, using their executive power as a source for their actions. One last example I want to quickly give you is the Patriot Act. This is used by George Bush. It's also a clear violation of the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution. The only reason why such drastic and disgusting actions would be undertaken by such presidents is because they knew that there would be absolutely no consequences to their actions. There simply exists no accountability for the crimes that the presidents and executives exhibit. My second point is that the lack of fulfilling promises made in the presidential race to the people are blatant abuses of the fact that nobody will hold the candidates accountable to their promises when they actually get into the Oval Office. So the first example of this is basically in the campaign trail of the modern President Obama. He basically said that he wouldn't be increasing taxes for people, for families under $250,000 incomes. Basically, he did this with just the first law he signed into action, cap and trade, and also the bills that he supported. The healthcare bill would do this. I'm not arguing whether you guys support it or not. I'm just saying it clearly violates that. And also, he promised to close Guantanamo Bay Prison, and he has continually pushed back this to the point where it will never occur. Okay, now that's also another case. Now the third one I wanted to show you is how he's not accountable to the people. Polls from Gallup, which is noted as the most reputable, show the President Bush having 34% approval rating, and because the Gallup poll basically showing that he's not accountable. It doesn't matter how much the people care or the people whose representatives or the legislators care, he still gets away with it. Ladies and gentlemen, this country is being driven by a car with a drunk driver in the front seat, and that car is the executive branch with the president at the wheel. And in the back seat you have the legislative, the judicial, and the people. And that's why I make my claim that that there is a lack of accountability for the executive branch of government, specifically the president.
All right, there's a lot of general positioning that you have at the beginning. It takes you almost 2.5 minutes to get to the proposition. So once you try to develop your argument, you've already handicapped yourself a little bit because you had to give so much background. I think you need to maybe focus a little bit more. The phrasing on the proposition is very complicated, and you need to simplify it. Although I think at the end, when you get to your final point, it's a little bit clearer and understandable given what you've said before. I thought you did an okay job setting up what the supporting points were going to be. Again, there's a lot of explanation and material in the background. Your internal signposting of the secondary claims is clear, so that helps the structure, makes it fairly easy to follow. The supporting material is not quite as strong. Some of it is very conclusionary. The Patriot Act, for instance, is kind of conclusionary. It seems a little strange to be talking about Watergate as a result of lack of accountability when Nixon was forced to resign from office, which seems like it's a perfect example of accountability. Political accountability is one of the issues that needs to be discussed here, and you don't really get much of a chance to do that. That's probably something that would have come up in that third point a little bit more, but because you are pressed on time, because it took so long to get going on it, you don't really get much opportunity to do that. I think you need to focus a little bit more, and instead of trying to cover such a broad theme, maybe pick a couple of points that are connected to each other. Abuse of executive power, for instance, in regard to foreign policy, or in regard to security issues, or something along those lines, and then I think you might have been able to have a little bit more focused claim. As it was, I thought the support was a little underwhelming. You've got some examples, but like I said before, it seems like you take them as a given that they demonstrate that something bad or abusive or improper is going on, and that there hasn't been any accountability on it, when I'm not quite sure that that would be the description that somebody else looking at it would provide. You need to develop more reason to believe the position that you're taking. I thought you have a very nice way of speaking to the audience. You're very clear and direct and forceful in the way you present yourself, but like I said, the supporting material is a little bit problematic. Do you have an outline? Because this is all I have.
Yeah, I only printed one.
Okay, so you're going to bring it to me later. Okay.
And off topic.